It's July 11th, 2026. Uh, it's been about 6 weeks since I left my full time work. Um, it feels like my productivity slowed down a bit this last week or two. Yeah, part of that I think is, we've had the World Cup I've been watching. We've also had uh, the WSOP main event. Um, I've been watching that in the evenings. They've had some coverage. That's always fun, I think, to watch. Those are like a couple temporary distractions. I started watching some WWE again. I haven't watched it in like 20 years, but they kind of got me back in with the free hour of WrestleMania. They got me interested enough to watch to pick it back up, and so I've been watching that on Mondays. I haven't been watching the Friday show, but I've been watching the big uh, the ones they do on the ESPN Unlimited, which works out because the ESPN Plus is included in the ESPN Unlimited, and that gets me um, the poker I've been watching in the evenings. So it's kind of a good deal for me. Got a couple different uses out of that. And maybe as NBA season, maybe they'll have some extra stuff on there I can watch once that rolls around. So you know, I've been watching, I guess, more television than lately with those things. But still, those are temporary, except for the wrestling's once a week, but that's not a huge time commitment. My only other recreational activity really is playing Mario Kart. So really, if I look at how much I play that, that's really going to tell me how lazy I'm being. And the truth is, I'm not spending a lot of time with it. Maybe average an hour a day. Uh, I spend on there. So that leaves the rest of the day means I'm being productive. Now, a lot of that production is just maintenance, keeping the house tidy, making meals, dishes, laundry, grocery shopping, oil changes, just all the stupid little tasks that you got to do just to. Um, yeah, I got my beard trimmed. It's been a few days now. I could probably touch it up a bit, but got this thing shaped a little, so hopefully it looks a little better than it was. I don't know how long I'm going to go with this, but it's working for now, and I'm not really going out anywhere, so um, not no few people are seeing it. So I got some contract work I'm going to be doing for the firm. That's going to take a fair bit of my time. But that again, that's just a temporary thing so I'm doing okay. Financially, I'm fine. I didn't run too well at poker the last month. So I'm taking a poker hiatus right now. The World Series is over. There's not, any real big tournaments right now. There's your regular games, but I just, to me, my time is better spent elsewhere right now, working on my other stuff. So um, until in my mind, and my plans are always subject to change, but I'm gonna abstain until I have my novel, and hopefully my second edition of my text in hand, so I can kind of distribute those as I play, when I bump into certain people that I think would like them, or that are actually waiting for them. So, uh, or just that I meet who seem like they might be interested. So I can make it kind of like a multi-purpose mission when I do return. But for now, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for me to devote my time to that. Just the bang isn't worth the buck right now. So that's a down the road thing. I'm not quitting forever, but I am quitting for now. Um, but I am still watching the main event and I might still spend some time studying the game. I mean, poker is a game like they say it takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. But in truth, I don't think it's a game you ever master because there's always another level. And there's always something to learn, something to consider. Um, and for me, at least so far, I feel like I can still learn and improve. That said, like there's a point like high end poker play where it's like maybe in these big tournaments you need those skills because you're having to make certain decisions that they just matter so much from a financial perspective that having that slight skill advantage is really really meaningful. But like a lot of players you meet when you're just playing cash games, they're very very predictable, and like you can exploit them um, very easily, and there's not a lot you can do to win more money against them, and in a lot of cases you don't even want to win more money against them because at some point it becomes so obvious that you have such a big edge that it's like they won't give you any more action if you're just demolishing them. Like you have to kind of play soft just to keep them engaged in the game. Um, so at some point, I think there's diminishing returns as far as a financial perspective of trying to get better. And like, again, right now, like that would be pretty low down on my list. Watching coverage, watching the main event. If there's other tournaments that come up where there's some kind of coverage that I think is interesting, that's probably the most I'm likely to do at this time because that's like a very passive form of learning. It's easy. You kind of you watch, you absorb it, you're kind of entertained at the same time sometimes. Um, Versus like heavier where you're like really working with tools and running simulations and trying to figure out exact mathematical optimal play. So I'm not really going to be like in the lab, but I might do some passive learning and just engagement. And once in a while, like I might just have a thought about like a situation, like even if I'm like watching the main event, like there might be a hand that comes up that really gets me thinking about like how should this spot be played, and maybe that gets me into the lab, right? Like maybe just because that comes up, but it's not something I'm seeking. It's not something I'm like scheduling into my day, and that's true in a lot of areas beyond poker. I might be walking by a floor and just say, you know what, I really need to clean that floor, even though that wasn't what I scheduled to do that day. Or I have this to-do list. Sometimes I just open it just to browse it, just to remind myself everything I have to do and see if there's something easy and quick I could knock out that I'm in the mood to do, um, or what have you. Um, so I'm progressing. I'm living. I'm alive. Market hasn't been too friendly, but it's okay because I'm not, having to liquidate a huge amount. You know, I I got my bills, but any 1 month's bills are, they're not like a massive liquidation event. Especially when not having to take extra money out to cover poker losses. uh, So you'll probably see me at the Arizona State Championship. I'm sure I'll fire at least one bullet in that, just because that's kind of a tradition. It's kind of our big annual tournament. I'd like to do that, but beyond that, you might not see much of me over the next couple months. They did the NAPT at Resorts World last year. That was a lot of fun. I don't know if they're doing that again because they closed the poker room there. So I don't know how that's going to work this year. Then you got the Win in December. Honestly, if I do another poker trip, it might be to LA. They just have, outside of the World Series of Poker, they have more cash games to kind of choose from. And I wouldn't mind doing a trip out there. But again, I don't think it makes sense to do until I get my big projects done here. So we'd be talking probably not for another 2-3 months before something like that might make sense. So or longer. I mean, this contract work might take me a month of solid work because it's some pretty big projects. And then it might take me a couple months beyond that to get my own personal projects done. So I am making progress. I'm staying the course. Life's continuing. Life's difficult. There are a lot of difficult decisions to make. But you just gotta make them all to the best of your ability. And if something goes awry, you just gotta roll with the punches, man. I haven't spent a lot of time on social media or anywhere. I mean, once in a while I log into Blue Sky, I point some stuff out. No one seems to notice or care. It's funny because they all want to argue about, they're like, well, that wouldn't work because of this and this. And it's like, well, I wrote an entire book where I literally go through every single fucking industry to tell you how it would work. And that's the kind of nuanced answer you need if you're seriously interested in how we can work without tax. And if you're not interested, stop bitching, stop complaining about this system because it's the system you support, buddy. You're the one who supports democracy. You're the one who supports taxation. You're the one who wants a tax-funded master. You've got exactly what you've begged for. So don't bitch to me, man. And most of what I see on there is just them bitching to each other, man. Them crying to each other. Them pointing out the specks in the other team's eye while ignoring the plank in their own. One of these stupid bitches yesterday, I replied to. I guess she had replied to me a while ago and I just hadn't been on there. So I replied yesterday. She's talking about, oh, they want to do all these horrible things. I'm like, you want to imprison people too. You support prison too, lady. You're no morally different than these people. You're just too fucking arrogant and stupid to fucking see it. So my book goes unread. And people continue to pretend they give a shit about the problems in this world, man. They continue to pretend they have compassion. They continue to pretend they have empathy. They continue to pretend they got it all figured out, man. And that they've already analyzed my arguments and defeated them when they haven't even opened the fucking book, man. I wrote the book because I got tired of making the arguments over and over and having people not listen or pay attention. So they're still not listening or paying attention, but at least I've done my fucking part as far as that goes. Yeah, I can improve it a bit. I can clean it up around the edges. I can paint this picture in this novel But I've done the main thing I needed to do, which was to offer you the actual solution you need. Um, so that's there, man. My health, I don't know about my health. I have this idea that people might be able to live longer than what people think they can live, that these bodies might hold up better, that they might be able to heal beyond what people believe. But at the same time, I experience all these physical sensations, and I don't see doctors, man. I don't trust anyone in that system anymore. Um, and I don't have any intention to visit them anymore. So, whatever happens within my body is just something I'm going to have to figure out how to resolve. I got tools, man. I got I got medical supplies. I've got, you know, written information if the grid goes down on how to perform medical procedures. Um, and I'm just going to do my best. Um, and if it's my time, it's my time, man. And maybe it will be, because in a lot of ways, I don't, it's hard to see how I make sense in this world. So it sucks if it happens, because I got these kids, and frankly, this world in general has a lot of issues, man. And hopefully, someone figures out that we're going to need a solution that doesn't involve more fiat currencies pretty soon. Um, or taxation. They're so lost, and it just gets worse, and they just continue to finger point and not realize they're the problem, man. So, like I said, I'm okay. My bills are just a little bit of my assets, and I can cover them. So I can wait. I can be patient. I can sit and wait for these economic realities to play out. This oil, they're saying a week or two left now. And when I say they, I'm saying this is, I listen to a lot of different people, man. And this is what seems to be most commonly reported at this point, is we're down to the last couple of weeks of oil reserves here before critical levels are reached. So, it's just, that's how it works, man. If price is too low, you're going to have more people consuming than producing. Um, that's just economics. Those are the laws of supply and demand, man. And they don't make sense because you need to look at some statistical study. They make sense because they're human nature. The higher a price you're willing to pay for something I've got or can make, the more likely I am to sell it or to produce it and sell it. That's the law of supply. The cheaper you are offering something I'm potentially interested in, the more likely I am to buy it. That's the law of demand. They make sense rationally using praxeology, aka empathy, real empathy. Really stepping into the shoes of buyers and sellers rather than just claiming empathy as an ideal while completely dismissing every libertarian you meet, including this fucking guy who wrote you a fucking book about how to solve these problems and create an actually good world rather than this pile of shit everyone likes worshiping so fucking much.